Hello, everybody. My name is O.W. Sweeney, and I want to welcome you to You Got to Laugh to Keep from Crying. I'm here with a person who I've been glad to know for close to a half a century. And I mean, close to 50 years. And he's also my co-host and my brother, Richard Courts. How you doing today, my brother?
O.W., I'm doing fine. Always good to be shoulder to shoulder with you, my brother.
Yes. And we want to
recognize our sponsor.
Of course, the North
Carolina
Triad Jobs with Justice, which can reach us at 336-272-2758 or email
at nctriad@gmail.com.
And they can send us.
We want to hear from you, folks.
Yeah, let us know what you think about us.
Right.
If we stink, we stink.
Right. But we could always get soap.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
but we try to
you
give
may
you some,
be that. You may be helping with that. So.
Yes, but we're just trying to give you a little information to help you think for yourself and to understand what's going on in the sea world. Like, for instance, Donald Trump run around talking about how bad socialism and communism is. But what people are not really understanding, this is the man running around talking about how bad socialism and communism is, but he ain't paying no taxes under this capitalistic system that he lives in. And he's putting people down who want to do things for people. Because my understanding, that verse said, we the people, is a place to include all people to be treated justly in this society.
It didn't say we the billionaires.
It
says
not
we
say
the
that.
people.
We the people.
I got you.
Donald Trump is running around and talking about how bad socialism and more socialist, democratic socialists are winning things because there's so many people who are wakening up to the fact that these capitalists is not really serving the people. And everybody want to put it down for capitalism. And I'm going to say this, and I think I said it on the show, it's capitalism when they take tax dollars and give it to billionaires who don't need the money, who just want the money. But it's socialism when you take those tax dollars to help the people of the country. Now, which would you rather have? A few fat pockets of billionaires, or would you have to have it? Because you got to realize all this capitalist system is doing, in this capitalist system, you need people to steal from people so people go out and borrow. You need people to kill people so you can have a big prison to put people in jobs out there. And people don't understand that this is what capitalism is all about. It's to create capital. It's not to create something that's humanitarian for the people of this world. And that is what we more look like and what we want you to do to think when these people are talking. For instance, everybody don't seem to understand that this socialist movement in this country today is old. It's not new. It's been around before. That is when that is one reason McCarthyism got such a good start in the United States to crush the socialist movement. I'm going to stop calling it socialist and call it what I think it is, to helping the citizens of the United States to be well off or not to be
more prosperous.
Yes.
And that was in the 1950s.
30s, 40s, and 50s.
Well, McCarthyism was the 50s.
Yes.
And it was fueled by the U.S. war against the people of Korea, and the alienation of the people of the U.S. from the Soviet Union, with which we, the people of this country, had been close allies in the successful fight led by the Soviet Union to defeat world fascism in the time of the 1940s. So it really had a couple of purposes. And in some ways, of course, Senator Joseph McCarthy was very similar to Donald Trump. And as we pointed out here on our show before, McCarthy's right-hand man was the political guru that Trump's father put Donald Trump under in New York City when he was an older man, Roy Cohn. And Roy Cohn taught Trump most of the dirty, vile tricks that he uses against the people of the country as
Trump doing now?
As he's still doing now. Yeah. Yeah. And so it was kind of interesting. There was Robert Reich was a Democratic cabinet member. It's a long time ago. He was the Secretary of Labor, and he's still writing and still doing podcasts and stuff like that. So he had a very useful question that he asked. That is, why is he using the communist Trump card? Why is Trump using that now again? And of course, some of it does go back to McCarthyism. That's what Trump's training was. And this whole country was in hysteria back then, as we are now, to a large degree, because people were afraid for their jobs. People like my dad would go to work one day, and this is, I'll say, 1955, the year my kid brother was born. My dad would go to work, and he'd be there about 2 days at a new job, and the FBI, which was definitely more like J. Edgar Hoover than anything that we've heard since.
Along the ranks of a Gestapo, you ask me.
Exactly. And they would appear at his workplace and put fear in the life of the employer, and my dad would be fired. And
so he couldn't support his family.
Absolutely. You know what?
Why would a government do something to stop somebody from supporting their family?
You know, you're a hell of a man, and it's very interesting to me that when my mother and my Irish Aunt Mary went to the State House in Boston, the capital of Massachusetts, to protest, and I was the oldest of the 4 boys. Each one of them had 2 sons. I was about 10 and a half years old. And we sat in on Governor Herter, who was a 6'7" or 8" giant, and not only a giant that way, but he was the Secretary of State of the United States that followed Dulles. So he was right in there with the Dulles brothers in being one of the main anti-communist drivers in that time. And my mother and my aunt were there with us, their boys, to protest exactly what you just said, O.W. That they were protesting the fact that their husbands were being deprived of the opportunity to work for their family.
And it's supposed to be a free country they talk about.
Yeah,
okay?
Right. And the thing that you know, there's a lot of things I love about you. You know, we are old friends. That's one of them. Your instincts are so damn good. All 3 of the capitalist press in Boston at the time, the Boston Globe, the Boston Herald American, the Boston Herald Traveler, and the Boston Daily Record American, which was the Hearst press. Every one of those papers covered our sit-in, which is what it ended up being, on Governor Herter at the State House in the height of the McCarthy period. And they all covered it. The reporters all covered our families sympathetically, exactly along what you said. Yeah. Those women were there fighting to have their husbands have the right to earn the money to support their families.
Yes.
So I mean, you're so fair. You're such a fair and just person, and so the idea you've known some of these things we've known each other all these years.
But a lot of people don't realize how ruthless capitalism really is.
Right.
Because 2008, that crash, that was on not only something that happened because of the banks. You have to realize that this goes back to the two parties, Democrats, Republican, Democrat, and the one boss. They start passing legislators making treaties like GATT and NAFTA, which took work from the working people in the United States of America and took it to another country. China,
Right.
Mexico, all this and stuff. So the elite, the capitalists on top, so they can make all the money in the world. Because I
The
remember
maximum profit.
maximum profit,
Right.
the hell with the people. And I remember I was still employed by the United States Postal Service, and talking to some of my coworkers on there, they said, well, that's a good thing for us. They would say, well, you know, the Mexico, we can buy their products, and they be at their products. I said, well, they can't afford to buy their own products. How they going to afford to buy our products?
Right.
So all that did was suck money out of the United States Treasury so the capitalists could line their pocket. Remember, they had a good run. They had cheaper goods made. They had the same goods made at a cheaper price,
Right.
because they were unwilling to pay the workers in the United States of America
Right.
at a decent standard so they can make a decent living.
Right.
So they
Absolutely.
went to their subordinates and told them,
You're talking about-
let's make NAFTA and GATT treaties so we can knock down the tariff, so we can
Pit the workers against each other to a race to the bottom, so that at the top maximum profits would be made by Wall Street.
They call it the oldest trick in the book,
Yeah.
divide and conquer.
Right.
They have workers fighting among workers.
Right.
And when we should be
United.
against the capitalists,
The
because they're
billionaires.
not trying to do us any good. They're not trying to help all the people. I mean, even in a communist society, you're going to have a certain amount of capitalism where people are going to be making money. But the emphasis on in communism and socialism is on the masses of the people.
Right.
And they have to understand this here. I mean, I'm going to have to repeat this again. Some people say this is a Christian nation. And I guess it is a Christian nation, okay? All those charities they having are supposed to be a Christian thing. But if you look at it, it's a socialist thing. It's a socialist for the people.
Right.
So they're telling you on one hand that as long as I'm getting the money, it's good. As long as you ain't getting none, it's good too.
Yeah. And I just want to say that what it has become is a white Christian nation. It's white Christian nationalism that's in charge right now. And and I know you understand that, but for our viewers,
Yes.
let's say to our viewers very clearly, what does it mean to be against DEI?
Yes.
If that is not open, blatant white supremacy. So you had the Afro-American man who was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff when Trump and Hegseth went in. And he was fired by Hegseth and replaced by a white male general who had no minimal qualifications that were listed.
Much less qualified than the man he
wait.
replaced.
The man that he replaced was fully qualified by the definitions of the U.S. military.
And don't forget who put him in office.
Right, and he put in office by Hegseth.
No, I'm
the
talking
white-
about the man that I can't think of his name, but he was originally appointed by Trump in Trump's first
I think
administration.
you're right. Yeah, I think it was General Brown.
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And he was fully qualified based on, I'm not a big fan of the U.S. military, but he was definitely
According to
qualified.
rules and regulations.
Yeah, right, and it had nothing to do with, he was an Afro-American man.
But it had nothing to do
had
with-
nothing with DEI. He was fully qualified. But the white man that replaced him by Hegseth on the basis that we're getting rid of DEI actually could not meet the minimum qualifications for the job, but he and Trump put him in anyway.
You must understand. You say he didn't meet the minimum qualification.
Well,
he met the fully qualification because he was stupid enough to take the job to do as he was told.
But he was also, I thought you were going to say this, he also was fully qualified on the basis that they are looking for a white supremacist dominated society and world. And that's why, for instance, NATO has always had a U.S. general, even though it's mostly a European country alliance with the U.S. and Canada and a few others. It's always had a U.S. general at the head of the military, and it's a military alliance.
Yes.
So that was it. And so what they're looking for in the U.S. is the same thing. I wanted to raise one thing that's really aggravating me very much right now. You know, as we've shown over these years, Biden, when he went in as president, had a 7 million vote plurality. He won by 7 million more votes than Trump got, and he actually won by the same, because of the way the Electoral College works, he actually won by the same overwhelming numbers that Trump had against Hillary Clinton, when Hillary Clinton had beat Trump in the popular vote by 3 million votes herself. So it's still, even with the problems with the Electoral College, Biden overwhelmingly went in. And what did he do to the man who had led the insurrection at the Capitol to try to block the transition of power?
Transition
right?
of power.
He and his Attorney General, Garland, sat on their hands. They did, as you like to say, nothing for the people at all. And the
only reason they did nothing, because they couldn't do less.
Okay, but I thought you were going to say, when they finally moved at all, it was after the pressure from the House.
When they was forced
by the House committee on January 6th, that did an excellent job
of investigating
under Benny Thompson, and I have to say, what's his name?
Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney, yeah. Which was bipartisan.
Yes.
That committee did a great job of connecting all the dots and showing how clearly Trump was guilty of, basically trying to have a violent overthrow of the government. And yet, Trump, and Trump has complained all these years about he's gotten worse treatment than anybody else. No, Trump, the Rosenbergs, a Jewish couple from New York City, were executed by your political gurus' vicious handling of the case against them. They were executed with two sons that were like 7 and 9 years of age at the time. And the society was so brutal against the way things were whipped up with the anti-communism, the propaganda was that even their own grandparents were afraid they would not take them in. Those boys ended up being raised by another couple. The man was the composer of Strange Fruit.
Oh, okay.
That made legendary by Billie Holiday. It's great being married to you, my dear. But anyway, made legendary by Billie Holiday. So the man that had written that, so he was also Jewish, as were the Rosenbergs, he and his wife. But that's the kind of consciousness that he had. He had written that song to expose and campaign against lynching, particularly of Afro-American people. So he and his wife raised those boys, and they turned out terrific. And we met one. I think we met one. I don't think I met both of them. And when my mother passed away, he sent a tribute to her at the time. But he ended up founding a nonprofit organization that helped the children of political victims.
Yes.
And I mean that's what he and his brother helped too on that. But anyway, I went. So here, that was the. So Trump. Every time Trump says, I've been treated worse than anybody else. But he knows.
Well,
wait a minute, he knows damn well. There's absolutely no doubt about it that Trump knows vividly what it is, because when we look at the January 6th insurrectionists, the ones that got the heaviest sentences were the Proud Boys and the other one.
Yes.
Yeah. They got convicted in jury trials of conspiracy. What the Rosenbergs were executed for was the same charge. It was a charge of conspiracy. There was no proof that they had done anything, only that they were talking about doing something. And even that turns out that it was, at least as far as Ethel Rosenberg was concerned, that was false as well. But so Trump is such a blatant liar. His whole life has been a big lie. And now we're seeing how he can do as a president who despises the warriors in the military.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd like to say one other thing, O.W., about this question of the warriors. I've never cared for John McCain. I opposed the U.S. war in Vietnam. But when the last man who had been a volunteer, a U.S. volunteer, in the Spanish Civil War, defending the elected social democratic Spanish government in Spain against the fascists and the fascist generals, Franco, led by General Franco. And Franco had learned his brutality by leading the Spanish army in Africa.
Yeah.
So that was the bloodthirst of Franco was that. So
a continent that should be free.
Right, and it was drowned in blood in that time, and
was still being drowned in blood.
And Franco had played a big role there and brought that bloody army of occupation onto his own shores. And Franco survived World War II, partly by not ending up being linked with Hitler and Mussolini, even though Hitler and Mussolini are the ones that put him in. But John McCain, to my amazement, paid, as a warrior, paid tribute to the last man who was a communist, definitely still a leftist and maybe still a communist when he died at 90-something or whatever. And the volunteers, who were many communists and socialists and other anti-fascists, who went to Spain. Many of them died there because the Hitler and Mussolini forces. Yeah. This was called the dress rehearsal for World War II. They were providing the weapons and the planes and bombs and so forth. But anyway, so I thought about when Trump started attacking McCain, I thought about the fact that McCain's one shred of decency, from my point of view, something that could be admired even, was that as a warrior, he showed respect for the last communist or socialist warrior who had fought in the Abraham Lincoln Brigade in Spain in the 1930s. So, but Trump has none of that. He doesn't have even any of that. So it's not a surprise that now we, as you like to say, or I would say, U.S. imperialism has us in Iran. Yes. And that Trump is totally responsible, along with his sidekick, Hegseth, for this war. It's not even it's not even a Republican war, except that, of course, the congressional Republicans caved.
But you have to understand, I think Trump went into that war because he's a very vindictive man. Very vindictive.
Well,
you can't argue with it because anybody who disagreed with him, I look at Tom Tillis now, who disagreed with him, and Trump said he wasn't going to endorse him.
Right.
That's vindictiveness.
Well,
all the people who went against me, he's vindictive. I believe Trump went into that war knowing or not caring about the people who was going to be affected. And who was going to be affected the most?
The working
people of the United States of America.
And Iran.
And Iran and the world.
And the Middle East.
And
in
the
general.
world.
Right, that's right.
Okay? All he was concerned about is he probably making more money off that war.
Now you're getting to it. I think the
Making more money off that war
vindictiveness is a cover
for his pocket.
For the billions that he's made. He was an in debt millionaire. Okay, he was millions
My
in debt.
understanding, he filed for bankruptcy 3 times in his lifetime.
Yeah, and then he struck gold when he became the president for the second time.
That was platinum.
His first term, he was a fascist in power, but his regime was not fascist.
Yes,
but they came back with Project 2025. And they've been implementing the hell out of it. They stripped the federal government. They stripped all of these. With Doge, we have the dangers. We have the measles and other outbreaks now.
Yes.
That because the medical field led by Robert
F. Kennedy Jr.
That they are. Absolutely abdicating.
Yes,
and so we're on our way out of this one.
Yes.
I just want to say it's always good to be with you, my brother, because
in our unity lies our strength.